Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the ships at sea. Today we come to discuss a man almost forgotten about in the annals of modern America, but to whom we each owe a great debt of gratitude. That would be one Mr. Edward Snowden. Maybe you know a lot about this man, maybe you do not. Either way, it saddens me to say that he is currently trapped inside Vladimir Putin's Russia, with veritably no way out, and most certainly squarely in the sights of a largely corrupted U.S. CIA as soon as he would step foot outside of that nation. To what benefit is it to us for our corrupt U.S. institutions to chronically track, harass, and otherwise harangue Mr. Snowden? Oh, you say for crimes committed against the United States? Then please spell out exactly what crimes he has committed. Hired as a young man to work for the George W. Bush-created National Security Agency, read National Spy on U.S. Citizens Agency, Snowden originally worked for the CIA from 2006 until 2009, assigned to Geneva, Switzerland. It was in 2009 that Snowden went to work for the NSA, assigned to duty as a private contractor for Dell and Booz Allen Hamilton. Shortly into that assignment, Edward Snowden began gathering information on a number of clandestine NSA operations, many overly large in scope and size, and all very alarming to his patriotic sensibilities. In May of 2013, Snowden took a medical leave of absence to Hong Kong, where he did a series of interviews with journalists from the Guardian newspaper of the United Kingdom. Among the NSA secrets leaked by Snowden was a court order that compelled telecommunications company Verizon to turn over metadata such as numbers dialed and duration of calls for millions of its subscribers to the NSA. Snowden also disclosed the existence of PRISM, a data mining program that reportedly gave the NSA, the FBI, and the Government Communications Headquarters, Britain's NSA equivalent, direct access to the servers of such internet giants as Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple, all completely illegal activities by the U.S. government. So basically, Snowden had just exposed probably the largest U.S. government spying on its own people scam in history. In June of 2013, articles were published in both The Guardian and The Washington Post that exposed all the spying that the U.S. federal government had done on its citizens in direct violation of the U.S. Constitution. Days later, Edward Snowden came forth and claimed responsibility for breaking the news, as he saw himself as nothing more than a simple whistleblower who had done the right thing. On June 14, 2013, the now known to be criminal DOJ, led by felon Eric Holder, proceeded to charge Mr. Snowden with espionage charges, highly laughable to say the least, since when is it espionage to blow the whistle on a supposedly upstanding United States federal government illegally and immorally spying on its own citizens? It's not, to answer that question. The next weapon in criminal Holden's repertoire was to ask Hong Kong to extradite Snowden back to the United States. Hong Kong immediately refused, and Snowden caught a flight to Moscow, Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin stated that he would not extradite Edward Snowden back to the U.S., and so it is there, within Russia, that he has remained ever since. His wife joined him there in the following year of 2014. While the listed definition of espionage is the practice of spying or using spies to obtain information about the plans and activities, especially of a foreign government or a competing company, it is worth noting that nothing Edward Snowden exposed in Hong Kong was beneficial to foreign nations, only to U.S. citizens who had been illegally spied upon. So there he is, locked up in a second world nation, unable to get free, all because he was a whistleblower against the worst kind of treason and tyranny in our nation's entire history. Whatever happened to whistleblower legal protections afforded under U.S. law? Let us make certain we get this absolutely straight, my viewers. Edward Snowden was not a foreign national. He was not on the clandestine payroll of a single foreign nation's government. He was never once approached to do the bidding of a U.S. enemy, unlike the current U.S. president, who has actually been exposed as having taken large monetary bribes from Russia, China, and Ukraine, among others, yet remains uncharged by the felon in charge of the current DOJ, Merrick Garland. What Edward Snowden purposed in his heart from the time he witnessed the heinous crimes of the U.S. puppet regime in charge was to look out for the best interest of the American populace. Maybe he should run for president with a resume like that. Also of particular interest in this case is the fact that both The Guardian and The Washington Post were awarded Pulitzer Prizes for their exemplary work in publishing the accounts of the crimes that Edward Snowden had witnessed under employ of the NSA. Seeing that the Pulitzer is a world-renowned award, it is now a huge embarrassment upon a once great nation like the United States of America. How can we call out foreign governments for corruption all the while this illegal slime goes on under direct sponsorship of illegal U.S. regimes? How can we go into Panama and arrest Manuel Noriega, all while our regimes try to pull the most heinous crimes against their own citizens, such as those exposed by Mr. Snowden? The closest we have seen to this case of late is that of one Julian Assange, an Australian journalist who was illegally jailed in Britain for the last 5 years, only after spending the previous 7 holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, all because he revealed dirty secrets of all the innocent Iraqi and Afghani citizens murdered by the U.S. military during our BlackRock-assisted military campaigns in those nations. Egg all over their face of the great American war machine, and somebody had to pay for that, most certainly. So for all intents and purposes, the corrupt deep state military complex and intelligent mafia get a bit peeved whenever somebody spills their dirty little secrets, and Assange and now Snowden are paying the price. This, my friends, paints the United States in a truly terrible light, and also opens us up to possible retribution from foreign parties who do not like us much to begin with. I'm not by any means stating that the actions of either Snowden or Assange did that. No, I'm saying, though, that the nefarious actions of criminal U.S. regimes have laid our nation bare, its citizens and military, at a particular risk due to their corrupt actions. The message here is unmistakable. Don't mess with the corrupt states of America and its military machine. Ever heard the age-old axiom, he who lives by the sword dies by the sword? Yes, this definitely comes into play here. In this puppet's humble opinion, Edward Snowden needs to be extended complete and total amnesty from all false charges brought by the corrupt Obama regime, flown first class back to the United States, apologized to by our CIA, NSA, and current Attorney General, then awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for exemplary valor, paid restitution for hardships endured since the U.S. government illegitimately began hunting him, and allowed to live out his and his family's lives the remaining years here in peace. Going back to Julian Assange for a moment, it is worth noting that the United States dropped all bogus claims and charges against him recently and allowed their lapdog Britain to finally free him from being a political hostage any longer, then peaceably returned to his native Australia. Oh, but only after making his life living hell for the past 14 years. That, my viewers, is a window into the sad state of affairs that our federal government and its deep state partners have foisted upon probably one of the greatest American heroes of the past century. Think about that and the possible ramifications for each of us, every supposedly free American citizen. The land of the free? I'll let you be the judge to that one. Good night and sleep well.